Hi, I'm Samuel Young. I'm in Miss Hitt's AP English class. The date is March 20th, and I did my book report on Freakonomics. There are two authors of this book. Stephen Levitt is the economist and Stephen Dubner is the author. Freakonomics does not have one setting because the authors talk about different situations that occur in different places. For example, they talk about teachers in Chicago, the KKK in Atlanta, and drug dealers all across America. Dubner and Levitt start with one simple question and analyze it thoroughly. One example is when the authors question why drug dealers still live with their mothers. The authors follow the research efforts of sociologist Sudhir Venkatesh, who has become friends with the local drug dealers. With in-depth research, the authors found out that only the executives make a profit, leaving all the others to make minimum wage. One comparison the authors make is between sumo wrestlers and teachers. One would question why sumo wrestlers would cheat when the sport is so carefully watched by many in Japan. When Dubner and Levitt looked at the stats closely, they revealed there is plenty of incentive. Because each sumo wrestler wants to move up a level, they often make deals with other wrestlers to fix the match. Similarly, some teachers in Chicago have been caught cheating. The authors reveal that the true incentive was to make themselves look good, not the students. Because a pay raise was at stake, teachers were willing to erase and change answers on students' standardized tests. My thesis would be, by using an open mind and statistics, Dubner and Levitt are able to think differently about various topics and effectively compare them. The author states, knowing what to measure and how to measure it makes a complicated world much less so. This shows that when the authors use the right stats, they can effectively analyze anything. Dubner and Levitt go on to say that the aim of this book is to explore the hidden side of everything. This shows that they have an open mind to any topic. The author's purpose is to question events in today's society and analyze them with a different viewpoint. Who would ever think in a million years to credit Roe v. Wade for the drop in crime? Dubner and Levitt use a very logical tone to analyze the different situations. There are many different topics in this book, but 2 chapters are devoted to analyzing parents. The authors conclude that it is more important for a parent to have a solid socioeconomic status than their actual parenting. For example, the children will be affected by how educated their parents are, rather than if their parents spank them. One sensory language quote is when the authors state, an incentive is a bullet, a key, an often tiny object with astonishing power to change a situation. When you read this statement, you can almost see the bullet and the key as tiny objects. Another sensory language quote is when the authors state the project comprised 3 16-story buildings made of yellow-gray brick. This makes you picture the awfully colored buildings. A rhetorical question is used when the author asks, what might lead one person to cheat or steal while another didn't? One example of pathos is when the authors state, one jittery kid kept wagging something back and forth in his hands, and muttering, let me have 'em, let me have 'em. This may evoke a scared reaction from the reader. The authors use syntax when inserting a dash in the sentence. This hardly means that discrimination itself has ended, only that people are embarrassed to show it. Many critics like Freakonomics because the authors think outside the box. Who would ever think to compare the KKK to real estate agents? On the other hand, some people believe that the authors were simply fabricating all of the stats. After doing some extra research, I learned that most of the stats were actually true and not made up. When I looked up if a sumo wrestler's win percentage was actually 79.6%, I observed that this number was slightly exaggerated but not completely made up. In the end, I really like this book, and I think you will too. I encourage everybody to pick their favorite reading spot and start reading Freakonomics today.